Hi students, today our topic is sexual reproduction in plants. Okay, which is sexual organ of plant? Flower. For many years we have been used these flowers for various purposes like cultural activities, to express our feelings like love, affection, for religious purpose. But for plant, flower is a reproductive organ. So in this chapter we will study structure of flower, then how many reproductive organs are there like androecium and gynoecium, how pollen grains are formed, how ovules are formed, then transfer of pollen from male flower to female flower, it's called pollination. In this chapter we will study different methods of pollination and then embryo development. So first of all, I am going to explain you a typical structure of flower. So flower is a modified shoot. First of all, thalamus. Thalamus is a part from where flower develop. Flower have four whorls like calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium, from outer to inner. Two organs are accessory. Why? Because they are not used for the purpose of reproduction. Which parts? Calyx means sepals and corolla means petals. And two parts are reproductive. Androecium, male part, gynoecium, female part. So first of all, we are starting from accessory parts like calyx. Calyx is a leaf-like structure and collection of calyx is called sepals. What is function of calyx? It protects flower during bud condition. Then second whorl, corolla, and the collection of corolla is called petals. Petals are bright in color and sometimes it contains fragrance also. Why? To attract insect for pollination. Third part, which is reproductive organ, androecium or stamen. It's called male reproductive organ. It's called stamen. Three parts are there: filament, connective and anther, and this called corolla. Last portion, female reproductive portion, carpel. Carpel contains three parts: stigma, style and ovary. Stigma, passage for pollen transfer. Style, that form a pathway for pollen tube development. And then ovary, where ovules are present. Stigma, style, ovary. Many ovules are present in ovaries. So in angiosperm, special characteristic is there, which double fertilization. In angiosperm, double fertilization is there. That's why fruit is produced. One fertilization gives rise seed and other fertilization gives rise fruit. That's why fruit is a special characteristic of only angiosperm. So now in this chapter I will explain you androecium or stamen. Filament, this long stalk like structure is called filament. What is function of filament? To transfer food and water to developing anther. Anther is a bilobed structure, and where filament joined to anther, this middle portion is called connective, and this is anther. Okay, now anther is a bilobe structure. So you can see this is anther, two lobe, bilobed, but 4 theca or pollen sacs are there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Why it called pollen sac? Sac means bag. This portion bears pollen grains. That's why it's called pollen sac. So bilobed but 4 theca. Ready? All these lobes are separated by grooves, and middle, these all lobes are connected by connective. So this portion produce pollen, and pollens also called microspore because they are smaller in structure. That's why this portion is called microsporangia. Now I am going to explain you this structure, microsporangia. This microsporangia contains 4 layers. Like in silk, first layer blue wrapper, second layer paper, third layer silver foil, and fourth layer your chocolate. Like this, microsporangia contains 4 layers from outer to inner. So I am going to explain you transverse section of microsporangia. First layer, epidermis. This first layer is epidermis, which is protective in nature. After epidermis, second layer is there, endothecium. As anther become mature, this endothecium will break and all pollen grains release into the air. So second layer, endothecium. Now this diagram is most important for 2 marks. Thecium. Third layer is middle layer, and fourth layer is tapetum. Middle layer, so epidermis, endothecium, and third layer, middle layer. 3 layers are protective. Fourth layer, tapetum, highly connect with sporangium, which is fourth layer. And what is function? This layer provides nutrition to pollen grain. So fourth layer, tapetum. This black layer is tapetum. Tapetum contains highly condensed cytoplasm with more nucleus. Direct after tapetum, there is a sporangium. Inside this sporangium, pollen grains are formed. So this called sporangium. Ready? Inside sporangium, pollen grains will develop. So sporangium is like this, longitudinal. But in this diagram, we studied sporangium and transverse section. So 4 sporangium are there in one anther. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. In this 4 sporangia, pollen grain will develop. How this develop? We are going to study. But this is important question for 2 marks. Okay. Suppose this is sporangium. in longitudinal section. In this sporangium, many microcytes are there. What is this? Microcytes, cells which are diploid in nature. Now these microcytes undergoes mitotic division and form two equal cells which are diploid. Why? Because mitosis give rise equal cell, diploid, and this diploid cell are called, these diploid cells are called PMC, pollen mother cells. Why? From this cell pollen grains will grow. Now this one pollen mother cell undergoes meiosis, means meiotic division. So from 2 and after 2, 4 cells will form. So we have tetrad. This is called tetrad. 4 cells are there which are haploid in nature. So pollen grains are present in form of tetrad. So as anther become mature, anther will dry, and these 3 layers, middle, endothecium and epidermis, will dehisce, and all pollen grains will release into the air. These pollen grains are free from one another. So this diagram shows you process of microsporogenesis. Why beta? Because pollen known as a microspore, that's why this is called microsporogenesis. From diploid cell 4 haploid cells are produced, and these cells called pollen grains. So now I am going to explain you structure of typical pollen grain. Okay. So pollen is made up of 2 layers. Outer layer is called exine, which is made up of sporopollenin, hardest organic material. It is not degraded by strong acid, strong base, or not decomposed by enzymes. So which is toughest layer on earth. That's why pollen can store for many years as a fossil. In some pollen grains, spines are also present. And student, with the help of study of exine, you can easily study atmosphere of plant also. Second layer, intine, which is made up of cellulose and pectin. As you can see, this one portion is without external layer exine. This portion is called germ pore, from where pollen tube will develop from intine, and this middle layer is called, inner is called intine, which is made up of cellulose and pectin. This pollen grain contains dense cytoplasm and 2 cells. One cell is large in structure with high storage of food and contain irregular nucleus. This cell is called vegetative cell. Another cell which is spindle shape and contain round nucleus, this called germ cell. So in many plant species, pollen grains are released in this 2 cells condition. But in some plant species, this germ cells mitotically divides and form 2 another cells. So in some plants, this pollen release in 3 cell condition. Ready? So fast revision beta. First of all, structure of stamen. Stamen contain anther and filament. Okay, as you already studied, arrangement of anthers, monoadelphous, diadelphous, polyadelphous. So in monoadelphous, all filaments fuse together and anther remain free is called monoadelphous. Similar in a hibiscus, anthers remain free and all filaments fuse together. That you already studied in 5th chapter in 11th. Second, diadelphous. Filaments fuse to form two bundles, first and second, and anther remains free like in pea plant. This is called diadelphous. Now polyadelphous. Anther fuse together and form many bundles and anthers remain free like lemon. So this is called monoadelphous, diadelphous and polyadelphous. Now what is function of filament? To transfer food and material to anther. Anther is a bilobed structure, means two lobes are there, but 4 pollen sacs are there, 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 sacs are differentiated from grooves. In center there is a connective like this. This is connective. So 4 layers are there. This portion is called microsporangia. Why? It produces microspore, means pollen grains. So microsporangia contains 4 layers. Outer epidermis, second endothecium, third middle layer. These 3 layers are protective in nature, but 4th layer, tapetum provides nourishment to pollen grains. And after tapetum, direct there is a sporangia. As you can see, this is sporangia, this is transverse section, this is longitudinal section. In this sporangia, many microsporocytes are present. These microsporocytes are diploid in nature. These microsporocytes undergoes mitotic division and form 2 cells. So many microsporocytes, so many pollen mother cells are formed. Each mother cell gives rise to 4 pollen grains. That's why thousands of pollen grains present in one anther. This pollen mother cell undergoes meiotic division. So first 2 cells are formed, then 4. Pollen tetrad. This is called pollen tetrad and act as an individual pollen. Now structure of pollen. Pollen contain 2 layers. Exine outer layer, which is made up of sporopollenin, hardest material that is not dissolved by acid or base or not degraded by enzyme. That's why pollen can store for many years. Second layer, intine, made up of cellulose and pectin. From this intine layer, pollen tube will develop through germ pore. Now pollen contain dense cytoplasm and 2 cells. One is large with high food storage and irregular nucleus. This is called vegetative cell. Second, spindle shaped small cell is called germ cell. So pollen release where there are 2 cells. Okay. Some demerits of pollen grains are here. Some species release pollen that are allergic in nature, that cause allergic reaction in human and also cause bronchitis. But many benefits are also there, like pollen grains are highly rich in nutrition. So in foreign countries, many tablets, syrups available as a pollen grain. Thank you. In next lecture we will study megasporangium.